welcome to my channel Dynamics Tech Guruji. This is Chetan, and before starting my video, I would like to request that if you are new around here, then don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe my channel so you will never get a chance to miss my further future videos. So let's proceed to today's topic. So today's topic we are going to cover about the currency exchange rate creation part 1 in Dynamics 365 Finance and SCM by Dynamics Tech Guruji. So let's talk about the content that what we are going to cover today. So firstly, we'll see the currency master creation, how we can create the currency master creation in the Dynamics, and what are the navigation that we'll see. Okay. The second thing that we are going to cover is like currency exchange rate type. What are the currency exchange rate type and what are the purpose of to creating a different exchange rate type, that we'll also see in the Dynamics. And the third point that we are going to cover about the concept of accounting, reporting and transaction currency. We'll see that also in the session. And in the fourth, we are going to cover about how we can create the currency exchange rate. Okay, so there are different ways basically by which we can create the currency exchange rate in the Dynamics 365. So some of the methods, okay, we are going to discuss in this session. Like we can create a manually, how we can create that we'll see in this session. Second, how we can add the currency exchange rate through the Excel add-in, that we will also see in the same video, in the same session. And the third one is like through the data management also. I mean, by using a export and import of a currency exchange rate, okay, entity, we can also configure or set up the currency exchange rate in the Dynamics 365. So there is another type also, that is configuration of a currency exchange rate provider, that we'll cover in the next session. So let's dive into the Dynamics. So before starting the process, let me tell you some terminologies. Like we know the currency very well, but there are certain terminology in the currency when we are taking the requirement with the client. Okay, so while doing a ledger setup, first ask would be like from our side to the client, like what would be the accounting currency and what would be the reporting currency and what would be the transaction currency. So transaction currency is not relevant to set up in terms of when we are talking about the configuration, but it is relevant in terms of your transaction wise. But when we are talking about the accounting currency and reporting currency, it is very important to choose, okay, wisely, because once you'll set up in the ledgers and if you had done any transactions with that particular currency, okay, the system won't allow you to change it. So what is accounting currency and reporting currency? If we can summarize in that way. So accounting currency is kind of a currency in which we are going to maintain the books of accounts. So let's say I'm doing in INMF, okay, and I'm sitting over here in the India, right? So I'll use as accounting currency as a INR because I want to maintain my books of accounts in accounting currency. Sorry, the INR currency. So the INR will be my accounting currency over here. But let's say I am a subsidiary of some of the holding company which is existing in USA, let's say. So I have to report them also. But when I'm going to report them, they will ask me that please give me the data in my language. In my language, in terms of currency language, would be as like in USD. So in that case, you have to maintain a same books of accounts in terms of a reporting currency. Okay, where you can report in terms of a different language if I'm talking about. Okay, so in that case, I'll put a reporting currency as USD. But let's say I don't have to report somewhere. So in that case, I have the scenario where I can just define my accounting currency and reporting currency both as a INR, like it is configured right now in INMF. Okay. And then third point is like, what is the transaction currency? So transaction currency is kind of a currency where we are dealing with our customer and vendor. So let's say if there is any customer which is sitting in Dubai, correct? So there will be a transaction currency in AED that can be. So we can summarize in that way, the transaction currency is a currency which is other than your accounting and reporting currency. Okay, so these three things we have to start with. So now we are on the home page of the Dynamics. Okay, so for creation of a currency, how we can go, okay, and where we have to navigate. So I was talking about, first of all, if I'll go to the general ledger module, okay, we have the currencies over here. So under the currencies, we have a different tabs over here. So we'll talk about each one of them. Okay. So firstly, we'll go with the currencies. So this is the currency master where we can create currencies over here. Okay. In the same way, we can create the currencies manually as well as through the bulk upload as well. Okay. So if we have to create a new currency, we can create from here itself. Okay. If you can see, there is a currency code as well. So if I'll do a duplicate, okay. So here we can just put certain USD. It is already there. Just I'm showing you. Okay. So here we have to put the currency code. We have to put the currency name over here. Okay. If we have the symbols, we can provide here also. I mean, some of the client is requirement like I have to print my symbols also in my sales invoice or free text invoice, whatever it is. So we can define the symbols over here also, and the system can pick from here the symbols on the report. Okay. Then there is another tab is called reference currency for triangulation. So we'll cover this point. We have the agenda of a triangulation currency, right? So we'll cover that point over there. Okay, so after that, these are the certain setups of online number conversion tools. Okay, and these are some rounding off. So if I have to round on the basis of my currency, on the basis of my sales order, purchase order, okay, so we can do a rounding of whether it is downward or round up or downward. Okay, then there is a currency gender. So it is not available for India, but in other countries, I'm not right now, I don't recall the name of the country where there is a gender kind of they are maintaining, whether it is a masculine or feminine. It's kind of a male or female kind of. Okay. So this is basically the first page where we can create the currency master. One second. So that error was coming because I have entered as USD, which was already created in the system. So this is the first setup that we have to look after. Now we are talking about we have created the currency, right? Now we have to define the currency exchange rates. So where we can define, so there is different or various ways where we can define the currency exchange rate in the system. So again, if I'll go to the general ledger, okay. So one setup we have done, the currencies we have done, okay. Then we have the currency exchange rate, and before that we have a currency exchange rate type. If I'm talking about, so what is the currency exchange rate type basically? So currency exchange rate type is, if you can see over here, it simply state that whatever the purpose we have, correct, we can create so many exchange rate type according to the purpose. So for the budget, if you can see, we have the separate exchange rate type for the budget. Okay, for the closing, if I want to maintain a separate kind of exchange rate type, that we can configure. But default one will be used as a, like, for every day-to-day transactions, we'll use as a default one. Okay, and these three I have just created for showing how we can import the data. Okay, from there are different various ways basically. Okay, configuration where we can pull out the data. It will automatically come into the system. So we'll see that also. So this is the exchange rate type. Okay. And if I'll talk about the currency exchange rates, correct? So if you can see, if I'll go to the currency exchange rate, okay. So this is the currency exchange rate page basically, where we can see the from date and to date. Okay. And there is a conversion factor as well. So what is the conversion factor? So conversion factor is something when we are considering any exchange rate between two currencies. Okay. So whether I'm putting as like $1, let's say I'm doing a currency exchange. Okay. How the factor is working is, let's say I'm doing for the INR. Okay. I've just created one of the currency exchange rate. Let's say I'm just taking a USD. Okay. So what will happen is like, if I'll put the conversion factor as 1, so it is showing as a 1 USD is equal to 52 INR, correct? So if I have to change the conversion factor as 10, so it will show as like 10 USD is equal to how many INR. So that kind of factorization you can do as per the requirement of the client. Okay. So this is the how we can create it. So there are various ways, like, so first ways is like I can update it manually. Okay. So if manually in the sense, if I'll talk about, suppose over here we have a from date and to date, correct? So if you can see from, I have taken as November. Okay. So this is the 1st November till I want to define on the basis of till, let's say I'm just taking December 1. So I'll select the date. And it is irrelevant also if I'm defining any exchange rate. Okay. Let's say if I'll click new, so it will automatically come into that period. What I mean to say is, let's say I'm just clicking on add. Okay. I'll give the exchange rate of, let's say, I'm just giving a previous date. So I'm just taking as a 20. And 20, I'm just taking as a, let me change to factorization as 1. Second. Okay. So if I click on add button, I can provide the date of rate on which date I want to define. So let's say I want to define on 20. And I have given as a, let's say, 85. Okay. So this is one of the way where we can define the exchange rate manually in the system. Correct. And if you can see over here, it is showing as an exchange rate type. So right now what I am doing, I'm selecting the default as an exchange rate type because same I have defined on the ledger page. So it will be used for your day-to-day transactions. Correct. So that I have done. Okay. And so what I mean to say is this particular exchange rate will not show for other exchange rate. Okay. Exchange rate type I mean to say. So this is the one way where we can define. Now let me tell you the another way is like I have the option of a Excel add-in. So right now this is a trial environment. So it is not connected, but how we can do that is like I have to just go over here. Okay. In the open in Microsoft Office, I have to click over here the exchange rates. So what it will do is basically it will open redirected to the Excel. Okay. So I can just click on the download file. Okay. And then we have to open this one, the same file that I have downloaded. So if you can see over here, it is kind of a add-in. Okay. The Excel add-in we have to do. So right now it is not there because it is a trial environment. Okay. So how we can do that is kind of if you can see over here is the insert, right? So here is the option called get add-ins. So this is kind of office add-in office is kind of a store. Okay. So here you can see a kind of a app that you have to enable. After enabling, the same thing will be available in the my add-ins. So right now it is not there. Okay. Otherwise it will show over here. And in that case, you have to log in with the same credential, whatever the client ID they have provided, right? So this is another way where we can just provide over here the data and here it will show some kind of a page refresh. So once you put the data accordingly as per the column requirement, you have to just publish it. The same will be available over here in the exchange rate page. Okay, so this is the second way where we can define the exchange rate. So first way is manually, second way is your Excel add-in, third way is your kind of a export import. I mean, you can use the data management if you don't have the Excel add-in, but if you have the data in Excel, okay, same data you can pull out in the through the data management. So how we can do that? Export or import the currency. Let's say I have prepared one of the Excel sheet. Okay, so how we can update it? So firstly, I'm exporting the data. So for that we have the entity name. Okay, exchange rate. So if you can see over here, we have the entity with the name of exchange rate. We'll click on add. So whatever the exchange rate it will be in the system, it will pull out. Okay, so we'll just click on the export now. So it will give you the all data irrelevant of your exchange rate type basically. So if I download this file, okay, and then if you click on open file, so if you can see, if I put out the filter over here, okay, so if you can see, these are the exchange rate type, correct, which we have seen in the system. So let's say I have to update only for the default one. So what I'll do, I'll just untick this one. Okay, I'll select all the lines because it is irrelevant for me because I'm not going to update in the same Excel. I'll put only the default one, and even the default one also, let's say I'm just going to define only for the USD. One second. So first row, I'm just taking for the reference that what I have to define basically. So that's why I'm not deleting it. So let's say I'm just updating, sorry, AED to INR. Okay, and here we have to give the start date. So ideally the exchange rate we are defining on the day wise, right? I mean, one day, one rate. So it is better we can define the start date and end date same. Okay, so let's say I'm just defining for the day of today's 0112. Okay, I'll remove the time because it's system generated. So there is the conversion factor. So I'm just putting a same conversion factor as 1. Okay, and I'm going to put the same date. And let's say I'm going to define as 22. The rate would be. So it will be like AD to INR. Okay, and I'm putting the global. So this is one of the rate for your AD. I'll just copy the same line and I'll create for AD and let's say USD. So I want to define the USD, AD and Euro to INR also within the same date. Okay, the conversion factor I have created the same. Okay, let's say it is 88. Okay, and this is, let's say okay, so this is the file that I have prepared. What I have to again go to the data management. Okay, and I have to simply import the same file. So if I'll go to the data management, I have to click on import. You can put any value over here. So this is currency import. Okay, then we have to add the same entity. So the format is the same that we have Excel. Okay, and then we have to provide the entity name exchange rates and pull out the import now simply. So let me open the second page. So I can show you once it will be reflected. See, it is showing as a 3 is in staging and it is succeeded. So if I'll go to the currency again, the general ledger module, okay, and then currency exchange rate. So here would be like, if I'll put the INR as a filter on the default one. So now you can see this is updating for 1st December 22. Okay, for euro I have defined as 90. Okay, for 1st December. So it's updated over here. So this is the third way where we can define the exchange rate in the system.
Thank you so much for watching my video. So still, if you have any doubt, you can contact me over the WhatsApp, and this is my personal email ID. Thank you so much for watching.